pricing for balloon work is one of the hardest thing. Like everybody looks at our balloons and are like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? That's amazing. I could never do that. And like, actually the hardest thing about it is figuring out what the heck to charge for it, right? So I have come up with a formula and a calculator to help us figure this out, and we are going to run through it right now. So let's get into it. Let's get started. I'm going to show you the inspo pick here that I am using, and then we're going to plug it all into this job cost calculator, and we're going to figure out how, if a client sent us this picture right here and said, I want this, what would it cost? We could plug it in here and know exactly what it's going to be every single time and make sure that we are charging fairly towards our customer and fair enough for us as well. So, before we get into this, I want to tell you just a couple of things. First of all, this job cost calculator exists for you to have for yourself. If you are interested in that, go check the link in my bio here on YouTube. Second, if you like saving money on the things that you're buying so that you can increase the profit when you are getting paid, please join me over on Facebook. If you haven't already, there's also a link to the Facebook in my bio, along with in the, I'll put it in the description in the first comment of this video. Over there is, I post deals on all sorts of things, like everything that we're about to run through that's in this picture. I post deals on that stuff. I find deals and then I post them for you to take advantage of. So if you like that, also it's like a really nice, fun, supportive community, very positive. So come find me over there too. All right, that's enough. Let's get into this. So I chose this picture for a reason. I found it on Pinterest. It took me to Amazon, which I really liked that because people are usually sending us pictures from either Pinterest or Amazon. So this is on both. The other reason that I chose this one in particular is because I am pretty sure that this picture is AI. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here just to start so we can see. So if you look really closely at this, first of all, like the background, like I don't know what real life this is. Like, this doesn't exist in real life. Other things that don't exist in real life, this spider, the way that this spider is made, like that doesn't even look like a foil to me. I think that you would make this by doing a 18-inch balloon here and like an 11-inch here and maybe some 260s for the legs. But this exactly, I don't think that looks real. Same thing for this spider down here. I don't think, I know that's hard to see, but I don't think that looks real. Another thing about this that's just not realistic is look at the placement of the 5-inch balloons. They're not clustered in any kind of way that we would normally do. A lot of them just appear to be floating. This one up here, this purple one, is like the biggest offender, I think. It's just like sitting there. That's just, these aren't real. So I like to point that out because that's important for us to be able to pick up on so that we can let our customers know when they send us an AI image, we can say, hey, this is beautiful, like, looks great. Just so you know, this photo is AI. And it's like the work that, that I do isn't going to match this exactly because this isn't real life. Like, it's good to have those skills of picking up on that so that you can set your client's expectations. So, however, we can still use this as inspo, and that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to price it out. So the first thing that we're going to do, and if you want like explanation for each of these things I'm about to talk about, you can check out my other videos on pricing that are also on my channel. I'm really just going to run through this and be plugging in numbers here. So if you want explanation, go check that out. But the first thing that we're going to look at is the seen and non-reusable. That is basically balloons in this picture. I really don't see a lot of non-reusable props, but that's usually the other thing that comes into this category. So the big thing is the balloons. So we have 3 different colors. We've got purple, black, and green, plus a 4th, which is like this purple chrome. The first 3 are going to all be priced the same. And I'm going to go figure out the exact price of them. I like to search at Bargain Balloons, and I'm just going to go to Bargain Balloons to my preferred brand for most things, except for occasionally an outdoor setup, which is Decamex. And you don't have to get a particular color because Decamex and most balloons brands are going to price all of their colors the same as long as it's not chrome, which is why we're going to look that one up separately. So for any setup, I'm typically going to buy in each color 18, 11, or 12, and 5. So I need to see what is the cost of the 12, the 18, and the 5, which is up here. Oh, nope, there it is. So I know for Decamex, 287 plus 728 plus 528 is going to be approximately $15. So I know that I am spending $15 per color that I see here. So that is going to be $45 in the regular balloons. Now let's check out what Decamex is for the chrome. So I don't know if we're going to be able to find, we might have to go to a color here. So let's just go to purple because that's the the shiny one that we're looking for. And those are usually down here at the bottom. So here is a metallic purple balloon. So with the metallics, I'm not going to get usually an 18-inch unless there's like a specific reason I'm going to. There's no 18-inch metallics in here. So I'm just going to price out the 5-inch and the 12-inch. So that's $287 plus $833, which is going to be about, what, $12. So we'll put that in there. Chrome balloons for $12. And then we also need to take into account shipping. So shipping from Bargain Balloons is $9. So obviously I would hopefully never buy one 5-inch bag for $287 and then pay $9 on shipping. I try to batch my orders. But anyway, so we need to include $9 for shipping. Shipping, $9. Okay, so we've got our seen and non-reusable in there. Now for unseen and non-reusable, this depends on your business. You do need to be tracking expenses so that you have an idea of how much you are spending on all of the other stuff every month. The glue dots and the clamps and the 260s and the rubber bands and like just everything else that you are buying regularly to make balloon setups happen that aren't for this specific job. So at first you're going to be kind of rounding and guessing at that, but after you've tracked your expenses for a couple of months, you'll have a better understanding of how much you're spending. So let's pretend that I'm spending $50 a month on these types of supplies and I have about 5 jobs per month. So we'll put that in there. And then we need to look at our seen and reusable. So these are all of the other props in here, and there are quite a few. So let's kind of break these down one at a time. So first we have this candelabra. I was not able to find this exact little combo here, but I found this one that I think looks pretty cute. So for the candelabra, we're at $35. You need to decide whether this is something that you are going to be using regularly and frequently, or if it's something that like you might never use again, or you might only use for a couple of jobs here and there. So candelabra, $35. Okay, next we want to look at these cake stands. So we've got 3 cake stands here, and I found this one. This one has a little bit of a sale going on. This is the kind of thing that I would put in my Facebook group, by the way. So you can decide whether you want to pass this savings on to your client. Do you want to put the sale price of what you actually got it for? Or do you want to put the retail price? I'm going to put the retail price in here for these 3 cake stands at $150. This is something that I don't have paid off yet, but I do think that I could use again in many other types of setups. This is not like a very Halloween specific one. So I'm going to put that one up here. Cake stands, $150. And then next we want to look at, there's covers on these cake stands, right? So I found some black ones. Obviously these are shades of purple that you would want to look a little bit for, but I wanted this to kind of be simple. So these black ones are $22 for the covers. Again, something that I could probably use again. So spandex covers, $22. All right, next we have this skull up here. So again, I'm not going to use this very frequently at all. So we're going to put that in some down here at the bottom at $19. And what do we have next? Okay, so this like thing down here, it's like a reindeer and a moon. I don't know. Again, I think this might be because it's AI. I could have spent longer searching, but I didn't find anything really quickly off the bat. So in this case, like let's say I can't find anything. I think I tell a customer like, hey, I can't find this exact thing, but I think that something like this gives a similar vibe. What do you think? And we're going to pretend that the customer's like, yep, that looks good. So we're going to go with these lanterns. And again, I'm going to put the retail price of $30 for the lanterns. And the other thing I like about these lanterns is I could use these again. Like these have a lot more general use out of them rather than a reindeer moon thing. So I'll put those lanterns here. Lanterns, what did I say? I already forgot. $30. All right, we're getting there. All right, so next we have these pumpkins. So these are the ones that I found. I think these look pretty similar, a similar vibe. $25 for the set. I don't expect to use this often. Pumpkins, 25. I already forgot. Did I say yes? 25. Okay. All right, next we've got these this little floral arrangement up here. So I found these white flowers. If we wanted to go for like a similar look without a lot of filler, and this isn't a huge floral arrangement, so I think that these this four-piece set would probably cover the same amount of space. So we're going to go with $27. Now, here's the thing. I have white flowers, and I don't remember exactly what I paid for them, but we're going to assume that I paid this much for them. So this is something that I already have and and have already used. So this is something that I have paid off, but I'm still going to charge for it. So we'll put that up here, white flowers, and we'll say $26. And then lastly, we have, well, not last, almost last. We have these gold palm leaves up here, or fern leaves. No, they're palm leaves. This is also something that I already own and have used, so that is nice to be able to reuse them. So we're going to put, again, $23 in here in the something that I already have used and obviously have used several times. You might put these in different categories. If you have to buy these, you would move these around. If you've already used your cake stands a million times and you've got them paid off, you might move them up. You will put this based on whatever makes sense for your business. But this is where I would put all of these things for mine. All right, and then the last thing we need to think about is this this arch here. So what I have pulled up here is a foam insulation board from Lowe's. That is what I would use. I don't have, I'm pretending that I don't have a wood Kiara backdrop, and that I would be making this out of foam. Here's the other thing. This particular one, again, it's AI, but look at this detail. Like this, how it's inset. If you wanted to make exactly this, you would be spending money on that, and you would need to charge for that differently than what I am about to do. But again, if somebody had asked me to make this right now, I think I would say, like, I'm gonna just do this in like one dimension and do a black Kiara painted arch, in which case I'm gonna be using this Lowe's foam board, which I use the 0.75 thickness, which is $22. And then we also need to think about paint, which usually for black, you can probably get something from the mist tint section for maybe $15. And then you need to think about the vinyl, some gold vinyl. You can get this Happy Halloween with a sheet of vinyl, which is a couple of dollars. So for the backdrop, that's 22 plus 15 plus another 5 or so for, and that's probably a little bit of an overestimate on vinyl, but that is $40 for the backdrop. And actually, I'm going to put this under seen and non-reusable, because when you're using foam, I'm not 100% sure that it's going to last more than once. Sometimes it does, and that's nice, but it's not always a guarantee. So we're going to put the backdrop here, and that's going to be about $40 altogether to create that backdrop. Okay, now we need to think about, and this is probably the hardest part, is how much do we pay ourselves for the time and of the labor that this is going to take. So the first thing you need to do is figure out your hourly rate. I'm going to say somewhere around, and this is based on the work that you put out, but if you're putting out, let's say, this quality of work, then I'm going to say $65 an hour. And now we need to estimate the number of hours that this is going to take. And that, let's think really carefully about this, because this is where a lot of people, myself included, tend to underestimate the time that this stuff takes. So you're not charging for the time that it takes you to learn, okay, but you are charging for the time that it takes you to do it once you have figured it out. So we need to consider design time. What we're doing right now, figuring out, talking with the client, what they want, what they don't want. Is it okay that we do the lantern instead of that? Is this candelabra okay? That's all design time, and that matters. So we need to consider that. We also need to consider the time that it takes to go on Bargain Balloons and find all of those balloons and make sure that they have them in stock and all of that sort of thing. That takes time. Let's say in design and ordering, we're sitting at about an hour. Is likely, but also if you're, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, then you can charge for that. But we'll say 1 hour there. I'm probably going to spend about an hour inflating all of these balloons. I would probably be doing like some chains here and there and that sort of thing. That's all together probably going to take me an hour. It's also, let's say, most of my clients end up being about 20 minutes away. So with travel there and back, we're going to end up probably another hour and a half. So now I'm sitting at 3.5 hours. The actual setup probably is going to take me another hour and a half. So now we're at 5 hours. What else? We need to consider going back and breaking it down all together with travel. So now we're around 6 hours. And what else? What else we need to consider here as far as time? It may take some extra time to do these like little specialty spiders. That may take some time. So maybe 6.5. That's just kind of me guessing quickly. If it sounds different to you, then you should put in something different for this. So we'll say 6.5. And then the next thing we need to be thinking about is our monthly overhead. This is everything that you are spending on your business that is not supplies, essentially. All the things that you would be spending money on whether or not you have a job tomorrow. So again, let's pretend that monthly overhead is $100. You're going to break that down and split it amongst your average number of jobs per month. And then the last thing we want to think about is the value charge. This is where your profit lies, and this is important. So your value charge is going to vary based on who you are and the work that you are putting out. But if you are putting out big time wow, you need to charge for that. And I would say that if you get something similar to this look, and you're knocking it out of the park, then you should add value to that. So let's just say we won't go all the way to the highest, but let's say 25% value. Okay, so now what does that give us? That gives us a grand total of $805 for our, that's what we would be quoting this client. Now, I like to round, so with this one, I would probably quote 800. You can do it however you want. You can round up or down, or you could go with 805 exactly. The other thing that this calculator is going to give you is show you how much cash value you are making in profit. So this is how much above and beyond the time, the money that you spend on the supplies and the time, labor that you put in. So like, let's say that you were paying somebody else to do it and you didn't lift a finger, you are still making on this job $161. And that's a profit margin of 20%. And then the last thing, this little option that we have down here that I just want to show you, let's say you're doing this for a friend or whoever it is that you want to give a discount to, you can put that in here. Let's say you're like, I want to give them a 10% discount. Okay, you can put that in, and now you have a new amount, which is $724.50. The other thing I like to point out about this that I think is really useful to see in front of your face is, let's say you do this and you decide to give a 10% discount. Look at what that amount is. That's an $80 an amount. That's out of your net profit, $161. You've just taken half of your profit. And basically your discount is a gift from you to them of $80. So think about that, and make sure that the discount is what you want to do and the amount that you want to do if you do decide to give a discount. So that's kind of, I just think, nice to have right in front of your face. So there you have it. This is how we could break this down. I plan on doing one of these a week or so. So if you have some jobs that you would like me to break down, whether there's something that you need to be quoting or some work that you have done that you would like to see how I would break down what I think you should have quoted on it, I'm happy to do that. If you have questions about this, let me know. Again, if some of this didn't make sense or anything, if you're like, wait, where did that come from? Go check out, I have a couple other videos going through this formula and really breaking down each of these categories and why I have what I have in there. But if you still have questions that aren't answered by that, please do let me know. I'm here to help. So I hope this does help, and happy ballooning.